just take work way too serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so the new generation is rebelling against that. There's going to be some cold people that are saying, hey, I can make everything I want to make and work however much I want to work.
Mm-hmm. How do you think that plays into not only lifestyle, but quality of life?
If you genuinely follow like what you love for work, and you stay in that space, you can be a great entrepreneur, a great investor. You don't have to invest in the
traditional kind of way
stuff.
Welcome back, Bold Move Besties, to another episode of She Built Success. I'm your host, Claudia. We are talking all things wealth management today. My guest who joins me is Phillip Washington Jr. He is a speaker. He is an entrepreneur, a consultant, the host of Wealth Building Made Simple. Phillip, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So y'all, I know y'all remember I was talking about my money team in a prior episode. Phillip is the second part of 3 of my money team, and I am so excited to have him on. So Phillip, I really wanted to, because Phillip is a wealth of information, and I really wanted to talk, no pun intended, I just realized that. But I really wanted to just get into not only wealth management, but getting to know you a little bit more, because I think that even with your podcast, I mean, the amount of information that you provide, in our money team calls, like just some of the insights you've provided for me, I really want to give millennials and Gen Z your take on what should be done, where you see things going. So let's just hop right into it.
Yeah. So, and I'll just follow that. I feel like the next however long period of time, right? If we're talking to millennials and Gen Z, right, their life is going to be exciting if they let it, meaning we're living in a time where the world is like completely changing, right? Yep. The world is always changing, but this is like a super big reset. And so I feel like it's the time where now I had a friend of mine, and he owns a business, and he was saying, hey man, these kids don't want to work in the construction industry, right? We pay this, we pay that, here's the upward mobility, blah blah blah. And I said, pause. I said, you and I just had a 30-minute conversation before this on how in a decade AI and robots are going to replace their jobs, right? Because the cost of a robot, like one of those Boston Scientific robots, are close to like $100,000. So like you give it a decade, and like they're going to do the construction. You know what I mean? And so I was saying kids are born into this time period with an intuitive understanding of like what they do, and then what they want to do, and then adults say, no, you should do this. Right. And then this throws them off, right? Yeah. So I'm like, hey, just follow your bliss. Like, then there's the difference between like being lazy and trifling.
Let's get into, wait, can we just,
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's completely clarify and talk about go ahead. And
yeah.
then
that was it. You take it where you want to take it.
No, I mean, I feel like it's this whole, I think they call it lazy. I think right now it's like lazy girl or lazy something summer or lazy. Everything's lazy. And then it's like this whole ethos of what it is in social media. And then you have those that just like sit there and want basically everything given to them, like they inherited. And it's very for me, it's very off-putting. I don't know if when you were speaking with your friends, if that's also what he was getting at, but it just feels like the whole lazy versus trifling, like,
yeah.
I can't get with that.
Yeah, and I won't go too deep, but I feel like it's sort of like, I'll relate it this way. So we're moving into a world where feminine energy, which we all have male and feminine energy, but feminine energy is rebalancing itself after 2,000 years of way too much male energy, right? So male energy is good. Like, I think the world demonizes male energy, but when it's out of balance, you know what I'm saying, it's toxic. Same with so now you're getting female energy. So when you get the female energy, like you get all of it, right? The toxicity and the beauty, right? Yeah. And so same thing with this rebalancing of like work. Like, we've gone through a period where people just take work way too serious. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. And so the new generation is rebelling against that, and they're going maybe a little bit, too far.
Too lax.
Right. but it's part of just the energetic rebalancing, right? I feel like the, what they call the talented 10%, right, of each generation, which anybody can be a part of. But I'm just saying, there's going to be some cold people that are saying, hey, I can make everything I want to make and work however much I want to work, and enjoy life, right? I think that's what they're looking for, is saying, I just don't want work to be my dominant reason for existing. You know what I mean? Because I don't want that. I used to embody that, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, I feel like right now the pendulum's kind of up here on that. It needs to kind of come down. And I think as Gen Z comes up, and obviously millennials continue to age, I think that you're right. I'm hoping it'll, a little bit. What's your take on? And I know you've touched a little bit this on your podcast as well, but what's your take on how millennials and even Gen Z now, because they're I think the oldest of Gen Z is like 20 something, like early 20s, I believe. What's your take on how, as businesses or even in corporate, managing their wealth? I mean, you're a chief investment officer, so how do you feel where do you see that trend going? And then how do you project, or what do you think, I must not say project, but how do you think that plays into not only lifestyle, but quality of life?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's a great question. I never thought of that question, so I like questions like this. I never thought of it. But I would say, so investments or money or what we transpose value into is just that. Like, money used to be seashells, beads, cigarettes in prison, right? I think we are finding out that it's not this paper, right? Because when you really go into it, like, there's not enough paper to actually back what we call money in the system. So money is just what we believe it to be, right? And I just sent my friends this website that is built using I'm gonna explain it simply. Like, Ethereum is like the Apple iOS operating system, right? And so just like you can build an app on Apple, you can build apps on Ethereum. So there's an app called Polygon, right? And so they use that application to build contracts that allow you to bet on, like, the presidential election, right? Just random stuff that we talk about, right? You can bet on it and make money on it, like just random stuff, right? And so they're moving into a world where you can financially bet on anything, right? Jay-Z invested, I think, like $5 million into a watch company, a watch marketplace, because Gen Z, and I'm an older millennial, Gen Z and younger millennials like betting on antique watches, which is smart, right? Because a Mona Lisa is worth a lot of money, right? And these watches are quality. And so you have a world where you don't just have to buy AT&T stock, right? You know what I mean? Like, you can invest your money into any niche. I mean, even down to, this is what I like we love music, right? And so they're going to have things where you can invest in early artists or early podcasters with a token and invest. So I'm saying that to say, if you genuinely follow, like, what you love for work, and you stay in that space, you can be a great entrepreneur, a great investor. You don't have to invest in the
traditional kind of ways
stuff. I mean, because it's just, I mean, I'm a old school, what they call this, my fraternity brother, school. I'm schooled in the business. I've been doing this for like almost 2 decades, right? So I've had to, like, unlearn all the nerd stuff that said, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. I'm like, nah, like, you don't have to do anything anymore. Like, you can do whatever you want.
Right. And are you finding it? I mean, I've never heard of Polygon or Ethereum, frankly. And so even in just hearing that, it's like, okay, so clearly the modality that millennials, Gen Z, I guess eventually Gen Alpha, is investing in will continue to evolve, and it almost sounds like trending more tech-ish. Or am I off base?
No, you're right. So it is going tech, and it's also going non-tech, right? I just call it technology, like an expression of human knowledge, right? So it's typically associated with electronics, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll keep that definition. But I even I even want to invest in a weed farm, you know, once it's legal in Texas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's going to become the alcohol. So you can do that. I mean, I feel like the sky is the limit because you can go, because I feel like this is going to be because when you have a world where artificial intelligence, right? If you divide the mind into two parts, you got the analytical mind, the reasoning mind, and then you got the artistic, imaginative mind, right? Which is typically associated with feminine energy, right? We're moving into a world where, all right, the nerd stuff, AI is going to do it better than nerds, right? So if you want to survive in this world, from my perspective, and like thrive in a world that is raising its imagination, right? You almost, that's like a lot of opportunities. That's non-tech. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of non-tech opportunities where if you can express beauty, right, or you can express an emotion, and you can make people feel a certain way, I mean, you're gonna be able to print money because like everybody's struggling emotionally, right, and they're looking for something to help them feel better, right. Outside of, drugs are one too, so I want to have a weed farm, but all different ideas.
Yeah. Do you think so I know we've talked about we've touched on what it looks like in corporate, what it looks like as entrepreneurs. Do you find that personally, the way your mind just do, and it's amazing. I mean, I will just witnessing it. It's just, I'm like, dang, how the heck did he do that? Like, and it's like, it's not like you're like surface level touching stuff. But sorry, let me get back to the question. And when your mind like does this, and you're thinking about your family and your two boys and your wife, like, do you find that I know you're setting up a life, as you should, legacy and things like that. But do you find that your mind is like, they be like, Dad, what you talking about? Or do you not talk that?
Yeah, no, I do, and it's a dance, So I've always thought intuitively, right? Okay. I didn't really know what that meant until the last 3 years. You know what I mean? Because I just remember, like, my wife remembers everything, right? Yeah. And I was good in school, but I was only good in school because I couldn't memorize anything. So I would have to like just wake up early in the morning, study a lot, and like put it into my soul. Like I couldn't tell you what it was called, but I was like, I would just like put it into my soul, so I didn't have to, internalize it. And so then when I got into meditation and like just learned to like relax my nervous system, right? Then it was like a superpower. You know what I mean? Because I trust my, like, some people will look at what I know and they will say, they will think I got to the knowledge at a different level. And I was like, nah, it's sort of, for me, it's more like faith. You know what I mean? It's more like I trust my intuition at a level, right? I don't just blindly trust it. Right. But my intuition will say, hey, Phil, you need to look at Bitcoin, right? Then I go down the rabbit hole. Oh, that was the answer I was looking for randomly. You know what I mean? Before, it wasn't random, but
yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So that's so saying that to say, it's taken my wife and my kids a while to open up their intuition, but now, you know what I mean? Like and this may sound weird, like not that I think more intuitively than my wife. I trust my intuition more than. And so she's trusting her intuition. You know what I'm saying? And so my boys, their kids, they were born intuitive, and I'm helping them to never shut it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I completely. Okay, so can I just say my moment for that? When you said that, it literally was like, it's like as a kid, it was kind of like what we were talking about in the very beginning, where you're being told, do this, do this, do this, do this. And so it's like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But then you don't get an opportunity necessarily to continue to be creative or be fluid or be, okay, I'm sorry. That was a whole moment when you said that. That is literally, and so it sounds like to me what you're instilling or what you're continuing to allow to cultivate is just that openness, that fluidity, that being able to move. And while structure is important, you recognize the value of being able to continue to be intuitive in that vein, and you're allowing that to continue to grow instead of squashing
100%, 100%.
How do you combat school?
Intuition. No, no, for real, because it's the way that I moved through school. So me and my wife were talking about it. She, I was graduated from the UTSA Honors College, and I did all these things that when you look back, you go, man, you really knew what you were doing. I was like, I didn't have a clue, right? Like people would just bring me stuff, you know.
You're like, nah, dude, we were straight winging it.
Yeah, just straight. And so that's what I do in school. I just go, all right, I know my intention, right? And in my, prayer time, I sort of think of prayer as like feeling for the answer. So I more say, all right, this is how I want my boys to feel. Go ahead, God, work it out in the way that I can't even think of, right? And so then that allows, because Kelly is very good for making sure that they, she has a more detailed mind than mine, and she could express things in words that I know the feeling for, but she'll have the word for. Yeah. So I want the feeling, and then she'll say, "Oh, here's this program." You know what I mean? And so we kind of play music.
It's a good partnership.
Yeah,
that's a good partnership.
But I also help loosen her up when she, you know what I'm saying? So it's a dance, because I could not have planned out their development consciously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're like me and her, and when you meet her, she'll be like, "Oh yeah, y'all are like controlled chaos."
I like that. No, but I mean that's important, especially. So I'm definitely more the analytical. So me and my partner are both analytical, but I have more of a creative bend. So like I can kind of go between the two, whereas he's like straight. These are the facts. This is this is the data. This is what it is. And so I just find it interesting in partnerships and marriages when your significant other, your opposite, is like complimentary. It's always, I don't know, like, it's rare that I found same. There's always like that fluidity, for lack of a better term, of the give and the take, or I'm going to help elevate or enhance on this side, and let's kind of work on this. I don't know. That's beautiful to me. I'm saying that because I know, and just in our conversations we've had over the years, it's been not a lot, but it's been, she's making sure I'm grounded here, and she's, make sure I'm on track here. And at the same time, you come in and you're like, but yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And it's just like, it's just good to see. I don't know. It's real life. It's real practice, but it's beautiful to see. So I just wanted to,
and we do take turns though, because when it comes to money, I guess the best way to put it is we just take turns playing roles, right? And in 16 years, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a process.
Yeah.
I'd also be lying if I said we figured it all out. But it's like a dance, we're getting better at dancing.
I mean, and as you get older and different experiences happen, that's gonna shift and change. But that's the beauty of just being with someone that gets you and is open and ready to be able to go with those ebbs, those flows, those moments. So yeah, no, I hear you. All right, so let's I'm okay. So I know I want to go back to investment, because I think that I will say for me, I am not the savviest when it comes to investing, and just in general, I would definitely say I'm more old school, just like you. I'm an older millennial, but I think that people find it scary. For me, I'd just be like, if it was just me, I'd be like, yeah, that looks kind of good. Let's just go with that, with no real strategy. But what would you say is a good approach? I know we talked about kind of just, where things are going, where things are kind of trending, what's a little bit more softer in terms of how investments look. Where do you find, or what do you think is a good, I'm not gonna say investment strategy, because I'm not asking that, but a good thing, how to get started, how to get acclimated, how to get comfortable.
Yeah. And I'll also insert in there how to shorten your analyzation process too. I think that'll help with helping you comfortable, because if we're going on the theme of the two minds, right? The analytical mind, which is typically what humans think through, right? Because if we were all creative, we would have no need for money, because everybody would just share everything, right?
Right.
So the analytical mind is what loves scarcity, right? And so anytime you're investing in anything, right, you want to find something that like a decade from now, not that many people are going to have, and more people are going to want than is available, right? And so if you're saying, okay, cool, I understand that, and let's say you are Gen Z and you love music, I'm gonna use that as an example because it's a non-threatening investment example.
Yeah.
You can say, man, I genuinely love music. Like for fun, I build Spotify playlists, like, and I do. I build one every single month, right?
Oh wow, that's impressive.
It's fun. Yeah, it's like
Wow.
I can see my mood in a month, right? So, so you may say, cool. Oh, this is a real story. I was building a playlist maybe like 18 months ago, and Lotto was on there, Megan Thee Stallion, Glorilla. Like I had never heard of them.
Yeah.
I heard of Megan because I'm from Houston.
Yeah.
But then so she helped me pick up on Glorilla, Lotto, a couple other ones that you know that people may not know, but they know them. And I was like, and I was listening, and I was like, man, the women of this generation sound like the dudes we grew up with. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, and the dudes we grew up with, or the dudes from the generation they grew up on Drake, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I just leave it right there. You know and I was like, so the women gonna be the guys. You know what I mean? And I was like, see, these women about to like come hard. You know, and it was all, and you've probably already heard my thesis on like just women's sports, female energy taking over.
Yeah.
So that's been in the background, and I was like, yeah, man, they about to dominate. So I told my homeboys, I was like, hey, man, y'all are listening to them, and they was laughing at me. They going,
of course,
bro, and I'm like, because I just love music. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not getting stuck in the message. I'm like, nah, man, they are comfortable in their power,
right?
Which is why I like hip hop people in general. So I'm giving the background. So you fast forward to the hip hop, what was it, the BET Awards?
Yes.
Just a couple weeks ago, and like they was just cleaning up, winning, and I was like, man, I wish I could have bought some NFTs. You know what I'm saying? And it like because if you're an artist, you no longer need Universal, these slave masters who own all your stuff. You can just go to your fans and be like, hey, let me create a Glorilla token. You know what I'm saying? We all put up $1,000, and when she becomes Nas or you know what I'm saying, whoever, like we're gonna make money because we own the. So that's coming.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If it's not already here, and I just haven't found the Glorilla token. You know what I mean? So that's an example of when I'm investing, I'm going, all right, I want to find something that's going to be scarce. I want to be early.
Yeah.
And I believe in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you don't believe in it, you're not going to hold through the
ups and downs of what inevitably happens anyway, or naturally happens anyway. Do you think that? Oh, that's pretty dope. Do you think that for those who are not as forward thinking, I'll say it like that, do you think that they have a hindrance, or do you think that there's an opportunity for them to be more open, I guess, to what is possible in investing? And I'm saying that because I think structure, right? A lot of people are like, well, this is the trend of the market. I'm thinking old school, but this is the trend of the market. This is where it's going. This is da da da. Like, do you think that they have a chance?
No.
No.
Yeah, money is like, for lack of better words, and I'm only speaking from the perspective of a man, and I've dated women. Money is like a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like nerds don't get women because they're way too structured. They don't understand how to feel the dance. You have to have an open mind to be attractive. You know what I mean? And so, same with, that's why I say find something you love, right?
Yeah.
If you don't love stocks, you're gonna be a nerd.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you're gonna like be the dude that stocks take on a date just for dinner, you know what I'm saying, and never have a shot. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're gonna be wasting your money.
You're right.
Yeah. So you want to find something that you love so you can be open to it, and then like the intuitive ability is gonna be easy, because I think people, we all do, overthink intuitive ability. It's just being able to be open when you're uncertain and just saying, I'm just going to continue to follow my bliss until like the answer reveals itself. And I don't need to make a decision until it's super obvious. Yeah. You know what I mean? But the school system says you got to memorize the number. You know what I'm saying? You got to, and I'm like, that's not actually, like, nobody actually makes money like that. You know what I mean? Like outside of like Wall Street nerds who are close to the Fed and got all, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Got all these savvy, you know, not savvy, but funny connections.
I'll leave that one there. So what are you excited about working on now? Because I know you have some things in the works. What are you excited, like what gets you up in the morning?
You know, the curiosity. Like I probably maybe like a decade ago, when did I start my when I leave Northwestern Mutual, let's say a decade ago, I had I was 30. I turned 30, and just things in my overall life were like, I made good money, but things in my overall life were not in balance.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, I'm not one to naturally be depressed, right? I feel like we all go through ebbs and flows, but like I was like getting depressed for real, and I was like, and I sort of worked through it in my journaling, and I was like, oh, all right, this. I'm now doing this because, like I was at where I was at because that's where I felt like I had to be. Like I have to be here because I got a wife, we got a 2-year-old, da 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 da. And I never operated that way, so I was like, I gotta leave.
Yeah.
And that put me on a path of just like really eliminating. I have to do this, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like even in my business, I built my wealth management company without I broke all the rules. First 10 years, I cold called, I did everything the hard way. And I was successful. In the next 10 years, I was like, I'm not cold calling. I'm not doing weekend meetings. I'm not doing evening meetings. I was starting back over. I had a wife. We bought a house and some kids. So it was straight on faith, right? But I was able to build the business in a way that felt the way I wanted it to feel.
Yeah.
And so then once I survived that, because it was a risk, right? I was like, worst case scenario, I lose my wife because like she likes, like she has certain minimum standards, and I was like, if she left me, I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
Yeah. I would not have been mad at her if I failed and she didn't. Yeah. So I survived it, and I was like, I'm never going back to doing what I don't have to do. You know what I mean? And that keeps me up. Is just the bliss of life. You know, Warren Buffett says, I tap dance to work, right? I tap dance to work. You know what I mean? You know? And whenever I'm not tap dancing, I'm like, all right, something has to change.
Yeah. Well, again, it goes back to that intuitiveness, like knowing that you're in this space, or if something's a bit off, like you're going to have to adjust. Do you find when you're tapping into the intuition that, like there's like we say aha, I suppose, moment where, okay, I need to shift this way, or no, I'm good here. Is that something that you feel, or is it like I don't know. Can you like?
It's random. It may be, you know, it may be my 8-year-old said something to me, and I process it, and I don't feel the way that I think I should feel, and I go, I need to go have a seat and think about something real quick.
Yeah.
You know, or it can be internal insight. It can be watching the show. You know what I'm saying? Like it just comes wherever it comes, and I've just gotten so used to feeling good that if I don't feel good, it's not good because I'm so confident. Like if I don't feel good, and I'm very confident.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like blow up something. You know what I'm saying? Not in a
not in a weird way, y'all.
Yeah. So I just go, nah. Let me just go sit down because before I act, I need to, right? And it's not perfect because I still, when you talk to all my friends, they're like, oh no, Phil is, Phil meditates, but Phil is still Phil.
Right.
He almost beat this dude up on the basketball court.
I was like, he'll come at you if he needs to. One thing I like to ask guests is to define their version of success. And throughout, you've talked a little bit about just the markers of just being intuitive, what that looks like. What does success mean to you?
Success to me means like living life the way that you want to live life. Like, you know what I mean? Like getting up every single day and not living in fear. You know what I mean? That's what success means for me.
Yeah. Wow. I think, okay. So that the fear. So when I feel like people sometimes are a bit too sensitive, and not in the intuitive sense, but they don't want to move. Like they're paralyzed in fear, and they don't know how to get out of that mode. And I feel like it stops them. And for me, I feel almost like, okay, like, yes, acknowledge it, but you have to push past it. What would you say to be able to push past that fear to get on that other side?
Yeah, this may sound weird because I've approached it 2 ways.
Okay.
I naturally just, before I really leaned it, like I'm very disciplined.
Yeah, Muay Thai.
Yeah, and even before that, I was very disciplined, and so it would caused me to not need intuition at times. You know, early on in my career, where I can just bulldoze through it, right? And so, but on the intuitive side, right, of life, now, if there's something that's, I don't want to even say I'm afraid to do, but that I'm just procrastinating on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just won't do it.
Yeah.
I'll just jot down how I want it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if it's a tough thing that I'm really just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I give an example.
Okay.
This may make sense. So, I'm competitive. We went to go play basketball, right? I said on my podcast, this recent one, and the short story was, whenever I'm around 20 and 30-year-old confident dudes, they want to peacock around me. And since I'm so peaceful, you know what I'm saying? The most confident one is going to test me, and I'm the wrong one to test. You know what I mean? And so we were playing basketball, and then, so I had to take this dude's confidence. But I texted my buddies. I was like, hey man, we probably need to find somewhere else to hoop, because it's taking me way too long to hold this guy in a positive light in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Which means energetically, when I go back there, it's gonna be a problem, because you know what I'm saying, he feeling some kind of way,
right?
And I'm who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's an example of where I just take my, you know what I'm saying, I don't try to force that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not emotionally ready
to
be in that environment, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just done playing with 20 and 30-year-olds. I'm going to do 40 and up league. And I'm comfortable with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a reason. It'll be understood 6 months from now. You know what I'm saying? What I should be doing, but that's where I need to go.
So fear, and I know that wasn't fear per se, but that's where we kind of moved into and shifted to this part. But so it's essentially how it feels, and to be able to not necessarily bulldoze through it, but recognize how it feels. And like you said, kind of jot it down.
Yeah.
And then come back to it if you need to come back to it.
It's like fear, procrastination to me is sort of like, I have like a world, right?
Yeah.
This is just my belief. It may sound weird. But there's a psychic world that we live in, right? Like that you and I are talking from a psychic world. Like the body doesn't talk, right? Because when it dies, it dies. And the psychic world then expresses itself in the physical world at some point in the future.
Okay.
And so fear, procrastination, those are sort of like limiting beliefs that I have, right? When I feel it, I go, that's a limiting belief that I have, right?
Yeah.
And if I try to run through the wall too hard and I'm not ready to phase through it in a relaxed way, I'm going to hurt myself, you know? And so I tend to go, all right, this wall still feels hard. I'm going to come back later. Because time literally heals all wounds. It really does. You know what I mean? And I just try to chip away at it, go back and think about it little by little, find it more positive. And then at some point I wake up and I go, this no longer bothers me.
Yeah.
Now I can go play ball with.
Yeah. It's a 20-year-old peacock energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's dope. I think any parting words you wanna leave the audience?
Man, I think I heard you saying it on your previous podcast. I just think taking care of your mind, body, and spirit is way more productive than what the culture, the hard-working culture says. Like, I feel like if you do that, you'll achieve a lot more, and it's gonna be fun.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because what's success without it being fun? Like,
absolutely. It's called boring when it's not. No, I think I agree. I think just being able to be present is important.
Yeah.
And that mind, body, soul connection, imperative. All right. Well, Phillip, I appreciate you, man. I'm so glad we were able to finally sit down, just have this conversation. I hope you all got a bunch of gems. Get your mind cart ready. We will definitely be linking in the description Phillip's podcast, so you guys can give that a listen as well. And Bold Move Besties, if you are not, please subscribe on YouTube to She Built Success Podcast. And we drop every Wednesday And if you are on audio, not a problem. We got you covered too. That is every Friday. Hit the subscribe button and I will catch you on the next episode of She Built Success. Bye. Are you a small business or entrepreneur who's considered getting into government contracting, but it seems a little bit difficult, maybe not the most easiest or intuitive? Don't worry, I got you covered. Click the link in the description below and download your GovCon Startup Kit. It has all the tools and resources you need to get started in federal government contracting. I'll catch you in your inbox.